Ooh, and guess what? We are going live. We're live. We're live. We're live in America. Yes, we are live in America. The kids are acting up on college campuses everywhere in America. They're speaking up about the war somewhere else. It's our war, but it's out there somewhere else, in someone else's land. The kids are waking up again. Are they? I ask you, are the kids waking up again? It's 1960 all over again. Please stop dropping bombs on our friends. Stop the killing. Again. Welcome, everybody. Welcome. Welcome to the Morning Report. How are you, everybody? What a great place what a great time to be alive where you can speak your mind on YouTube. Speak your mind almost to so many people about so many things. I was Mark Scotty reporting on the uprising, it seems, of the children on college campuses. They still qualify as children, right? Anyone under 18 years old. How old are you in college? You're up to 19 or 20? I don't know. It's still. I think the longer you live, the longer you realize that might be still a child. Nonetheless, there are real, unequivocal protests going on all over this country, and just like the George Floyd race riots, and to bring America's and the world's awareness to a racial injustice where white officers were choking the shit out of black youth and killing them. The youth are now aware, it seems, in America that the American intervention in its foreign policy in Israel, supporting one side while that one side bombs and planes and guns and money and ammunition and every little piece of, and vilifying the other side as terrorists and homogenists and Hamasinists, right? Promoting one side of the war while the other side dies and loses their land, right? The young people are aware of it, and they're calling it genocide. Where a very, very powerful military rising, arguably as powerful as any other nation on the planet. Maybe not as powerful as the United States or China, or not a superpower strength, but definitely nuclear-armed Israel, pummeling, beating the shit out of their neighbors. Now, we're a country of immigrants, right? America is a country of immigrants. There are lots of Palestinian people here, and I would argue that there's less immigrants from Israel here. Now, we have to separate the two, right? What is an Israeli citizen, and what is a Zionist Jew from New York? Right? Those are two different things. Those are two different animals. And not every Jew in America is a Zionist. Not every Jew in America agrees with foreign policy in Israel and the United States' engagement with that. But there are a radicalized few. It's usually a very small percentage of a group that radicalizes and wants to do harm to somebody, right? In the case of Israel doing harm to Gaza, it's a small majority, but it seems to be isolated at the top of Israel's foreign policy and American foreign policy. So we're going to look at this. The point is that young people are standing up again. The riots are coming back. The uprising, right? And this time, I don't think that the kids had it wrong the last time. The people that rose up during the George Floyd race riots were 100% right. Everybody saw the videos of George Floyd getting killed by three officers with a boot on his neck. We all saw that, right? And we also saw the bombing of Gaza. All of us. We all saw it. The television showed it to us. The bombing of hospitals, the flooding of underground infrastructure, the people fleeing, the Palestinian people fleeing for the border, the armed Israeli military marching on Palestine homeland, and we also saw Hamas, the Palestinian government, backed Hamas blow up a fucking rave in Israel. So we saw a lot of conflict, but what we don't see is we didn't see in Gaza the Palestinian civilian population, right? Everybody else but the military Hamas and the militants. We never saw anybody in Gaza actually protest or hate on the Israelis after this thing happened. They were peaceful. The Palestinian people were mostly peaceful, and then they got obliterated. Now, this is a point in history. I don't know if it's. I don't know if you can go back at this point, because the damage is severely done. The people the people of Gaza are severely displaced. And now, I don't know, 6 months later, the American studentry at Columbia, Yale, and now NYU are speaking up. So we'll look at this. There's amazing footage coming out of New York, Columbia University, NYU. There's some footage coming out of Yale. So the protests are growing. They're spreading across the country. And it seems, I don't know, what are you going to do now, kids? Last time you brought the rallies to white America, accusing every white person in America of being racist. What are you going to do now? Bring your rallies to middle America and call everybody a fucking Jew or a Jew supporter? So get your messaging straight before you open your trap, kids. It's very specific. U.S. government is bombing the shit out of Gaza, and we support you in your bringing that to everybody's attention. But let's not turn it into anti-American fucking bullshit again, right? That's what democracy. This is what democracy looks like, by the way. You speak up, right? You speak up, and I commend, speak for nobody but myself, I commend the kids out there right now at Columbia University, at NYU, at Yale. Bravo. Keep going. Keep pushing. Push these fucking warmonger, military industrial complex mother effers out of the box already. Get them out, man. Get them out. Go. There's a live broadcast live on YouTube. I never know what's going to be said. Nobody knows. I don't know. I just talk, man. Just talking my mind. Speaking my mind, right? Uncensored. Welcome, everybody in the chat. The people on the right of your screen are also uncensored. Everybody's here every day. Vinny DiMartini, William R. Hall, great artist from Syracuse, New York. We have everybody here. We have artists. We have all kinds of people, right? People like me. I don't know what I am, really. The guy who makes videos. Snake Plaskin. Snake, what's up, Snake? Vinny DiMartini is in the house. Rain is here. Medcal Mark is here as well. Weevil Girl, wonderful Weevil Girl is here. Zoot Cooter, David Brown, and everybody else who's lurking. If you're not familiar with YouTube lingo, you are a lurker if you don't participate, right? We're here every morning at 9 a.m. This is my thumbnail today, and every morning at 9 a.m., if you want to participate in the chat, you can come on over to this channel, and you can just drop your comments into the chat over there on the left, like everybody else, and you'll be part of the program. Or you could just sit home and lurk. Sit home in your comfortable chair and lurk while the world fucking burns around you. So these are the kids over there at Columbia. It is interesting. At one point, the school was locked down for a moment. And the report that I got, the reports that are coming out on the media are kind of inflated. The actual, I'm going to play the video of the guy, the NYPD commanding officer. And he's going to tell you in his own words, there's nothing bad about what's going on inside the campus. There's no crimes being committed. There's no fucking nothing. It's just talk. It's just kids sleeping out in the camp, outside in the cold. It's 40 degrees right now. They don't have the luxury of nice weather like Occupy City Hall did. But this is Occupy Columbia. Occupy Columbia. The youth of America has occupied Columbia, and don't be afraid. Don't be afraid, Jew. Don't be afraid of people swinging the Palestinian flag in your face. It has nothing to do with your Jewism. It has to do with the nation that you're supporting, Israel, killing somebody next door, right? Because they don't like them, right? There's no other reason, really. We just don't like you, man. Well, this is my thumbnail today. Every morning, as I said, 9 a.m. Eastern time, right here in the great United States of America, where free speech is still sort of alive and well. Depends on who you ask. Come on down, man. Come on down. The case of white privilege. Get your white privilege out of here. I heard at Brooklyn Hospital they have a screening room. That's right. They have a screening room at the Brooklyn Hospital where you walk in, and then a doctor comes in, and he tries to determine if you have white privilege or not. Right? And he tries to say, they look at you and say, "This guy's got too much. I'm sorry, sir. You have too much white privilege. You will have to get out of here. You'll have to get your white privilege out of here." So, ugly story. Is exclusive to this channel. The ugly story of a Fat Albert racist at Brooklyn Hospital. Somehow he squeaked in, and he took his racism to the job, And we're continuing. We'll continue with that story. What else? So this is live, 2 minutes from NBC. Good footage. I am not in New York right now, so but I could report on what I'm seeing. I'm reporting on a locked fence in the Quad in Columbia University, 115th Street, I believe it is, in Harlem. Not a very big campus. There's a lot of people jammed into a small space over there, maybe a square block. And this is what's going on. Let's watch.
New York City, just outside the gates of Columbia University. Massive protests filling the streets. Pro-Palestinian demonstrations appearing to grow on this fourth day since students gathered on campus.
Wow. That's a great image right there. Look at that image. Look at the image of young people speaking their minds. I'm telling you, it's like 1960 all over again. Is it going to fizzle out just like the George Floyd stuff does? Because it always seems to fizzle out. Now, at this point, there's a lot of, you know how many, if you think that these are all just kids right here and there's no infiltration, you have got your head screwed on backwards. Inside this crowd is FBI, is CIA, is military. They're all in there already, right? Kids. Be careful who you're talking to when you're inside, unless you see a student ID. And that doesn't even matter. But because the best way to end this is to lead it into a ditch. Right? That's what the government is. Our government is good at. They're gonna try to fizzle this out because they support the billions and billions of dollars that they give to Israel to do this. It's part of American policy. So. But inside this crowd, I wonder how many FBI and CIA are already in there communicating with the kids, creating an elaborate conspiracy that someday they can throw them all in jail or tell them to go home. One or the other is going to happen. But let's continue.
Campus that led police in riot gear to make more than 100 arrests at the request of the university president earlier this week.
Students tell us despite the risk of suspension, having their ID badges turned off, and losing access to housing here on campus.
That's pretty harsh, what he just said. All of those things are happening to kids at the campus. They're all getting fucking crushed. Miss MZ TRX in the chat says it's propaganda. I don't think it's propaganda in the sense that the whole thing is staged. I don't think that at all. I think what happens is it's an organic uprising. It's happening all over the country. And then because it's so powerful, like the George Floyd riots, the agencies infiltrate and lead it. They start to take over the leadership of the rally itself. Think about it for a second. You're in the rally, and they see the police around the perimeter, but they're talking to the police. The guy next to you, who is this guy? Nobody knows. He's a young kid. He works for fucking NYPD. He's in there leading the thing. He's lobbying. He's a smart kid. Let's listen to him. Right? And that kid becomes the leader of the fucking rebellion. He's a cop or a CIA or some other military hack. That's how you dissolve these things. That you can almost guarantee that's already going on. You don't know who it is or why it is, but it's very true.
They've reestablished this encampment, demanding the university divest from Israel.
Divest.
The students arrested, suspended by the university. All of these students know the risk, and they're showing up because they understand that in our numbers we have greater safety.
For some, the ongoing protests have
Safety in numbers. I like that.
to discomfort even being on campus.
They feel the campus is so toxic, it's so unwelcoming to Jewish students and people who diverge from this line.
Is this a Jew? He's so upset. If there's no justice, there is no peace.
And demonstrations are now spreading.
It really does look like on looking at the images. It looks like it's a Occupy City Hall, Occupy Wall Street all over again.
Overnight, hundreds of Yale students camped outside a dinner for the university president to protest the school's investment in military weapon manufacturers. At UNC Chapel Hill, students set up their own encampment in solidarity with the Columbia students who were arrested this week. All as a national pro-Palestinian student group is calling for action on campuses nationwide.
Boom, boom, up. Well, we got to stop. Now, these signs that you see all over the place, these black lettering with yellow, is it's a certain agency, a certain group, community, whatever. Fucking a lot of people say it's Soros money, but you see this, you see these colored signs all over the place in different events for different causes. They always seem to pop up. It's usually somebody right there handing them out. Okay, you need a banner, man. Put this up, right? And people start grabbing at these banners. But I don't know. This time they seem to be right. It's not propaganda. It's there's a lot of people that are throwing gas on the fire of the demonstration so that it gets bigger, and that's okay. That's okay. I think it's very organic. I don't think there's any. I think it's an organic uprising of young people who finally get it and realize that. Just like Google, like the Google rebellion, the workers inside of Google realized that they were developing AI software for the Israeli military that was, causing the death of people in Gaza, and they protested. And it's happening now more general, where where someone at a college campus, whatever ethnic background you are, and you meet this, this fine young girl from Palestine, right? You meet this fine young chick from Palestine, right? And she tells you that her mother and her grandmother got blown up by an Israeli fucking missile, right? And everything goes quiet, right? And you're like, you can't believe what you're hearing, right? And that's real. Right? So that's really what we're talking about here. We're talking about real people with real experiences, and then you can always default to 1946, the Holocaust in Germany, and say, and remember the Jew, but that's not what's going on here. This is a nation of the nation of Israel destroying its neighbor, Palestine, with our money and our backing. That's what's happening, and I believe that's what the kids are seeing.
Universities have a long history of political demonstration.
First Amendment, says Weevil Girl. Of course. There's a difference. There's a huge difference between, violent speech and inciting riots and screaming fire in the building than there is speaking out on a college campus. This is the right way to do it. It's interesting that they're outside Columbia Journalism School. This is 1960s. Back a little bit.
Universities have a long history of political demonstration. Columbia famously seeing buildings overtaken in 1968 by anti-Vietnam War demonstrators. Revolution! Tonight's protest on campus and out in the streets, once again making their stance known on a war raging overseas.
It's been 6 months and these protests have only been getting bigger, and it says so much about the hope of this movement.
And George Solis joins us now from outside Columbia University. George, what is the police presence there like tonight?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Jose, there is a large police presence here on the periphery of the campus.
On the periphery.
Right behind me, where protests are still growing strong at
This reporting by NBC is not accurate. I'm going to give you the correct reporting from the NYPD. They don't see that. You're going to hear the NYPD lead cop say there's no threat. There's no threat at all. It's just a bunch of kids sleeping on a private property campus. If the campus wants to get rid of them, then they'll call us in and we'll get rid of them. But there is no disturbance. There's nothing. It's college kids being college kids. Whether they're sleeping on the fucking grass outside or they're sleeping in the dorm, they're still there.
This hour, what's unclear tonight is if police are going to go back on campus to disperse the groups of students gathered there tonight. Jose?
Thanks for watching.
Thank you, Les Holtman. All right, so here's the guy. This is fascinating. Just briefly, you'll hear the NYPD brass tell you that there is no fucking problem. Listen.
Of course, protecting First Amendment rights is absolutely crucial.
Yes, thank you.
Central to what we do.
That's right.
Who we are. So we're always going to protect people's First Amendment rights.
Correct.
But to the extent you have criminal conduct that's not protected by the First Amendment, we're going to take action, and our officers are very clear about that.
The only criminal allegation was that there were trespassers, kids on the campus that weren't supposed to be there, and that's bullshit, really. In a public protest, in a uprising like this, you can't claim privacy. I mean, you know what I mean? Like if kids want to, what you're essentially saying is that there's something nefarious about protest. If you're going to limit the number of people or who can be at the protest, you're implying that the gathering and the speech itself is nefarious, is bad. Right? If a kid wants to protest on his campus, in college campus, and he wants to invite his girlfriend from the East Village and his mother from San Francisco and his brother who just flew in to be with her, and the student wants to invite his family onto the college campus to help support his agenda, his speech, he should be allowed to do that. You shouldn't be filtering out who gets to protest and who doesn't. Right? So they're violating, free speech is being violated in that sense.
All right, so we'll take a
Listen to this guy. He makes the point right here. This is the cop that makes the point. Listen.
few questions, but we'll work right from left to right.
The question. Watch what the question asked. You'll see.
No, don't yell out. I'll get to everybody, all right?
Lola Diamond.
What is happening for students who are attending Passover Seder's tonight? What is happening in general? Have there been any threats against the campus in relation to the upcoming holiday?
Has there been any retaliation, any campus, any violence? Wait, what did she say? Hold on a second. Generally, has there been any threats against the campus? That's the question in relation to the upcoming holiday, Passover, right? So Jew, pay attention. Has there been any threats by any of the young people attending Columbia University threatening Jews on Passover? Has there been any? Let's listen.
So, in general, I'll let Commissioner George talk about, just some of the presence that we have out here. But there's been no credible threats to any particular group.
No. There you go. That's all you need to know. All right. The NYPD is reporting to you there's no credible threats to any particular group. There is no threat. It's speech. All right, that's all.
Or individual.
Or individual.
Coming from this protest or any other. But
or from this protest or any other. That is a bold statement. That is a wide umbrella statement by the good officer at the NYPD, high-ranking brass deputy commissioner, whoever it is, right? And speaking on behalf of the NYPD. They don't just let some jerk off come out there and speak, right? This guy is somebody inside of the NYPD. That's why he's speaking.
In terms of resources and some of the things that we've been doing, I'll let Commissioner George talk about it. Thank you, Commissioner.
So that's the word. We don't have to go too far because these guys are kind of boring. But you see the fact. The fact is that there is no. The police do not see it as any. There has not been any threats to anybody being made. That's bullshit. So now we're at NYU. NYU. That's up at Columbia. Here's NYU with the, droves of police, right? I'll say also, I watched the beginning of this, and again, the police are in a tight situation because, for example, Columbia is technically private property. So NYPD doesn't just storm Columbia University, ripping kids off the campus because they're sleeping there. That's a university decision. Do you want kids sleeping on the grass? Are they allowed to? Do you have a rule against sleeping on the grass? Well, then, if they're breaking the rule, get rid of them, And then NYPD, if it's something that, it goes into the area of trespassing or criminality, NYPD will intervene. But the point is that NYPD has been, and always usually is with these protests, they turn their back to it. They don't care what you're saying. Just don't break anything. Don't fucking hurt anybody. And you can say whatever you want. Now, this is different. NYU is a little different because it's Washington Square Park. That's a public park. The University of NYU is a public park. It's not fucking the campus. Right? There technically is no NYU campus. It's in Greenwich Village in New York City. It's open. The village and the school are the same. It's all entwined. All right? You live on campus, but you live in the village. All right, so that's a little different. If they're clogging up Washington Square Park, which they like to do, they may get pushed out. That happens. The NYPD will come in there and push you out at a certain hour. It's a public park. They need to clean it. It's happening. Oh yeah, there we go. I'd say it's happening. There you go. The chairs are flying. I don't know exactly where we are. I can't really tell exactly where we are. We're by NYU somewhere. This is good. This is a good video right here. This is excellent video. So a lot of content. So again, this is very different. This is very different than the Columbia riot. This is very different because, again, now you're on the public street. Now you're on the city street. You're clogging up the street. And now the police bring the violence. Here we go. It's getting heated there. Hmm? The crime for free speech. Free speech criminals. They're criminals for speaking up, but not for the speech because they happen to be speaking in the middle of the street. It's a lot of noise, man. A lot of fucking screaming. I could tell you from experience, this is the last place you want to be when shit goes down. Because it's late at night, and the police are now told to clear the park, and that's what they're going to do. The police are going to win here. The police always win when they do this. Because they have the bats and the guns and everything, and you're gonna get pummeled if you don't listen at this point. Now they're throwing chairs, right? So now you're bringing the violence to the police. Now people are going to get hurt. All right, now kids are going to get hurt because you're throwing chairs at the cops. All right, here we go. Right? And then advance, right? The police advance into the crowd. Right? Okay, I know where that is. That is the Stern Business School. That's the patio of Stern Business School at NYU. I think it's on Waverly Street somewhere. Zutsu says no tear gas or water cannons. Oh, Zutsu says they're going soft on these kids, right? All right. If this was January 6th, the police would already have their hammers out, batting people and beating people. I think you're right. So you're saying you're saying that the police are because there's no tear gas or water cannons, that the police are being gentle with the NYU students paying $100,000 a year to be at the school. At this point, this is not students, by the way. At this hour, these are the agitators. I'll point it out to you. When rallies evolve into the late night, all of the peaceful kids already went home. They went home. 95% of the people at these rallies are already home sleeping. It's 11 o'clock. And now the troublemakers, these are the agitators. These are the people, this is your FBI, this is your CIA, this is your military hacks. They're all in there agitating the fucking event, trying to make it into something violent, confronting the police, pushing into the police. It's all, this part of it becomes kind of sort of orchestrated. But the actual sit-ins are not orchestrated at all. Give him 20 years. Mr. T-Rex says give him 20 years for the rally. You're right. I support what you're saying, man. The January 6th people got fucking 20 and 30 years for a rally. Right? And these kids, no fucking criminal. I 100% support you on that. What's different between this and January 6th? Nothing. The color of their skin. On January 6th, they were all white people with white privilege. But here, if the white people are mixed in with other colors, then it's okay. So I'll point out something else. There's a recording going on in the background. NYPD is playing a recording. Please leave the premises right now. Go home. They're telling them to go home. And if you don't, you're gonna get beat to the ground. Now it gets serious. NYPD now has permission to clear the fucking area, and there's not going to be anybody there after they're done. You're either gonna turn around and go, which you're allowed to do. Turn around and leave. Go. We're telling you. We're not arresting you. Leave. Go home. That's what they tell you. Go home. The party's over. If you stay there, you're gonna get crushed. Right? That's it. In the last hour, this is where the smashing starts, and here comes NYPD again. Please leave the plaza now, or you'll be arrested for trespassing. That's what the sound. That's what you hear when you're standing there. That's a loudspeaker. They're broadcasting it. All right, go home. And usually, I'll tell you, NYPD, they can wrap this up in like 15 minutes. When they use force like this, when they come in, they push everybody out, it's only like 15 minutes, and everybody goes home. Even the troublemakers. There's only a handful of real agitators. They start breaking the windows. They start burning shit on the way out. Right? For the most part, it's over when this happens. Is it warranted? Yeah, I guess it is. It scares people when radicals take over the street. Sit in the park. Great video. Wow, what a great video. All right, so that's NYU. NYU. I think I gave it too much. So let's go back to that's what's happening in the real world. Now that I told you. Let's look at what's happening in Fox News.
Good morning to you. You know, Michigan is where we heard some of the Death to America chants. We also, over the weekend, heard one.
They're going to try to turn it into anti-American. That's not what it is. That's not what it is. It's. You see how now we see the misinformation, right? The agenda. Right? These guys are like sitting in their studios in New York, saying, "Look, they're anti-American. They hate us." That's not what's happening. That's not what's happening at all. They hate the American policy, right? Stay on focus. They hate the American policy in Israel, giving Israel money to kill the fucking innocent Palestinian civilian population. That's what it is.
Protester in New York say, "We are Hamas." Another protester was holding a sign that pointed to Jewish students saying they should be Hamas's next targets. It all just begs the question, how did we get here? Not just on the campus of Columbia or these higher...
How did we get here? You don't know how we got here? Listen to what the kids are telling you. We got here by United States recently just signing, $90 billion fucking foreign aid package where Israel's going to get $70 billion of it. That's how we got here.
Education, Ivy League, college campuses, but how did we get here as a country?
Well, not just how did we get here, but what are we going to do going forward? Because I do think that there have been groups that have infiltrated our universities, and they are they're radicalizing students. I mean,
all right. So there is infiltration, but it's not the infiltration that you're thinking, ma'am, because you've never been there. You don't go there. Go to the fucking rally and talk to the kids in the audience. Talk to them. Stop sitting in your plastic bubble in your New York studio and go out and talk to the kids or watch the videos of the kids and listen to what they're saying. Now, I would go there, but I'm fucking over here.
If you look at these groups of students, these are your average American college students who have been radicalized by folks who we don't know who they are. They come onto the college campus.
It's absolutely incorrect. Shame on you. Shame on you, Fox. Shame on you, Fox. Shame on you, Fox. Let's listen to, I gotta lean left. I'm leaning with the lefties today. Democracy Now! Is Amy Goodman spelling it out for you.
New York, where Columbia University has canceled in-person classes today as campus protests over Israel's war on Gaza enter a sixth day. Classes will be held online today. The protests have swelled.
Now, the NYPD just told you that there's absolutely no threat to anybody. No threats have been made. But Columbia, because of the Jewish lobby and some Jewish fucking rabbi saying that the campus is dangerous for Jews, has won and caused no class at Columbia. Everything is online.
After the arrest last week of over 100 students who'd set up an encampment to call for the school to divest from Israel. Organizers say at least 50 students have been suspended from Barnard, 35 from Columbia. A growing number of Columbia and Barnard alumni, employees, and guest speakers have also publicly condemned or announced they're boycotting the prestigious institutions. Over the weekend, solidarity protests and encampments also began on other college campuses here in New York City, at NYU, at the New School, as well as across the country, including at Yale, MIT, Tufts, Vanderbilt, and University of North Carolina, Chapel Hill.
So that's a lot of protesting going on. Thank you, Democracy Now! I don't always agree with Democracy Now!, but today we agree. Today.
We're joined right now by two guests.
You know why we agree? Because what's become obvious, I think if you're watching this, you realize what should be obvious is not all protests are created equal. Not all protests are some sort of radicalized, group at all. Sometimes it's just a very, very simple, in this case, it's a very simple observation about American policy. And kids realize it. They suddenly say, inescapably, I am complicit. Right? That's what they do. I'm a college educated person in America. I want to be great in America. I'm smart. I want to go to Columbia, right? And then they realize that their actions have consequences. Their activity in the day, the way we live our lives, has actions and consequences to others. In the case of how our government spends its money. They realize it. And they realize that in a great democracy, you can change that. And how do you do it? You speak up, right? It's just like the 60s, I believe. The 60s had incredible momentum. I don't know. It also had singleness of purpose. Well, not really. The 60s were anti-racism and they were anti-war. They were also anti-establishment, anti-oligarchy, which a lot of people forget. Martin Luther King was about decreasing corporate wealth, and giving it back to the people. Let's keep watching. Marcus Conte reporting.
In a moment, we'll speak with Columbia University professor Mahmoud Mamdani, who addressed students participating in the Gaza Solidarity Encampment on Columbia's campus multiple times last week. But we begin with Jude Taha, Palestinian-Jordanian journalist and journalism student at Columbia University Journalism School. She's on Columbia's campus here in New York, where the student-led Gaza Solidarity Encampment is still underway. She's joining us from her school at Columbia Journalism School right now. Welcome to Democracy Now!, Jude. Can you lay out what happened over the weekend? What are people's demands? And the fact that today, the president, who all this happened a day after she testified before Congress, has shut down the university for in-person classes, all online today.
Thank you for having me.
I think we got the...
Right now, what we're seeing at Columbia is an unprecedented act of solidarity set up by students. Unprecedented act of solidarity.
The kids are waking up. There's got to be a song in there.
Students who initially set it up on the South Lawn and then faced violent arrests and a lot of repression from administration and ended up moving to the opposing lawn.
There wasn't violent arrests. If they were trespassing and they were being obnoxious, they probably got bounced out of the campus for an hour. Right? This is not equivalent to Palestinian journalists. All right. Well, we've heard from them. Thank you. I thank you, Democracy Now! for covering that. NYPD arrests over 100 protesters at NYU. We saw that already. We saw the video. So that's all. Mark's County reporting on. What are we reporting on? We're reporting on the youth of America. The report is the youth of America is waking up to the fact that their country, for whatever reason, is engaged in imperialism, is engaged in military advancement in places they shouldn't be, by giving money and power over to people that are fighting a different agenda against, fighting their own civil war in Israel. Right? Palestinian people have been there for centuries. It's an ancient culture. You can't just bounce them out because you feel like it, right? Because of the Jew lobby. Right? So anyway, I'll see you guys tomorrow. Thank you for joining me. Marcus Conte reporting. How come we have no chat, man? How come we have no chat? It's the live chat. It's the chat. They censored our chat, man. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Marcus Conte reporting.